What if I told you there was a man who murdered 10 innocent people in the most brutal ways imaginable? He bound them, tortured them, killed them, and then disappeared into the night. But the most terrifying part, for more than 30 years, this same man openly taunted the police and the entire city. He sent letters, packages, messages filled with horror, and then he gave himself a name. BTK. Bind, torture, kill. And while all of this was happening, he was living as a normal family man, a church president, a respected member of the community. No one suspected him. No one imagined that a monster was hiding right in front of them. This is one of the most disturbing cat and mouse games in true crime history. The horrifying story of the BTK killer. Wichita, Kansas. Back then, the city was peaceful. People trusted their neighbors. Many families still left their doors unlocked at night. But on January 15th, 1974, everything changed. That morning, a man quietly entered the home of the Otero family. Inside the house were Joseph Otero, his wife Julie, their 11-year-old son, Joseph Jr., and their 9-year-old daughter, Josephine. What happened next was beyond horrifying. The killer tied up the entire family. One by one, he strangled them to death, and after the murders, he calmly arranged their bodies, as if this was all part of some twisted fantasy. Before leaving, he took souvenirs from the crime scene. Then he vanished. The police were left with almost nothing. No witnesses, very little evidence, no clear suspect. But just months later, the killer made contact himself. He sent a message to a local newspaper, taking credit for the murders. And inside that message, he suggested a nickname for himself. BTK, bind, torture, kill. That was the moment the nightmare truly began. Over the next several years, BTK continued hunting. He stalked victims for weeks, sometimes months, watching them, learning their routines, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Then he would break into their homes. He used ropes, cords, belts, plastic bags, anything he could use to control his victims. And according to his own confessions, he enjoyed watching people suffer. Nancy Fox, Shirley Vian, Vicky Wagerl, and others. The entire city of Wichita was terrified. People started buying guns. Doors stayed locked. Windows were checked every night. Parents became paranoid. No one felt safe anymore. Yet somehow, BTK always escaped. No fingerprints, no reliable witnesses, and back then, DNA technology was still limited. To investigators, it felt like they were chasing a ghost. Then, something strange happened. BTK disappeared. For 13 long years, there were no murders, no letters, nothing. But in 2004, BTK suddenly returned. Out of nowhere, letters and packages began arriving again. He wanted attention. He wanted the city to remember him. Then came the mistake that destroyed everything. BTK mailed a floppy disk to a local TV station. but forensic investigators recovered deleted data from the disk. And what they discovered shocked everyone. The file had been created at Christ Lutheran Church, and attached to the document was a name: Dennis Rader. But the most terrifying part of this story is who Dennis Rader appeared to be. He looked normal, friendly, respectable. He had a wife, 2 children, a stable job. He was also a Boy Scout leader. And even more disturbing, he served as the president of his church congregation. On Sundays, he stood in church speaking about faith and morality, but secretly, he was living a double life. A life filled with obsession, violence, and murder. For decades, Dennis Rader hid in plain sight. On February 25th, 2005, Dennis Rader was finally arrested, and when officers informed him that he was under arrest for the BTK murders, his face completely changed. He looked stunned, because deep down, he truly believed he would never get caught. In court, he calmly described all 10 murders in chilling detail, with almost no emotion, no regret, no sympathy. He explained how he stalked victims, how he tied them up, and how killing gave him satisfaction. The BTK case still terrifies people today because it proves one horrifying truth: evil doesn't always look evil. Sometimes it hides behind a smile, behind the face of an ordinary neighbor. So now I want to ask you, do you think people like BTK are born evil, or do they slowly become monsters over time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.